What is hair freedom to you? So in 2023, when I did interviews with women about their natural hair journey, most of them with locks, I only asked one of them, but I asked this question. I said, have you ever experienced hair freedom? And she didn't really understand what I was talking about at first. She was not sure if she knew what that meant. And then as she started to think about it, she said, oh, yeah, well, hair freedom to me is not just low maintenance, but wake up and go, and I like what my hair looks like. That's what hair freedom meant to her. And so I asked her, I said, have you ever experienced that in your life? And she said, it's temporary, but when I do experience it, I love it. And she said usually when she does braids or crochet to her hair, that's when she experiences hair freedom. That kind of clarity is exactly what we need in order to stay in the love part of the cycle. That is where the hair freedom is. And that's why it's important to know your definition of hair freedom. And to maybe bring us all on the same page, I'll give you my definition of hair freedom. It's very simple, but it may be hard for some to accept. And that is hair freedom is loving your hair no matter what. Here's an example of loving your hair no matter what. Imagine a little girl getting ready for the first day of school. Maybe it's preschool, maybe it's kindergarten. She's got on her backpack. She's got on her cute little outfit with a little skirt, her little jean skirt with her matching jean top and well, jean jacket, let's say. And then she's got her cute little shirt on that matches her shoes, her brand new school shoes. She's looking so cute. Her hair is pressed all smooth. She's got a big curl at the end, and her hair is done. She is laid. She is ready to go. And mama takes a picture. Okay, I'm old school. Yes, I take a picture like this. Mama takes a picture, and she is picture perfect. She is adorable. She is a doll. She is looking good, ready for her first day of school. Then imagine hours later when she comes home and you see her walking down the sidewalk to the house, and mama takes a picture again. This time in the picture, her hair is not what it was before. It is not smooth anymore, but it is 3 times bigger because the humidity got to it. That one big bump of a curl that was in the bottom of her hair is gone. Her jacket is hanging off her shoulder. Her skirt is turned sideways, and her shoes are all scuffed up. But this is the second picture. Now, when you put those two pictures together, what do you see? What is the difference between those two pictures of that little girl? I'm going to tell you the difference is nothing. She's smiling in both of them. She's happy, excited. She's excited. She was excited to go to school in the first picture, and she's excited to go back in the second picture. So maybe you were looking at it and you were saying, oh, well, the difference is obviously her hair and her clothes. Her hair was done before in the before picture, and her hair is not done in the after picture. But what is true is that girl was experiencing hair freedom. When she was at school on her first day, learning new things, meeting new people, going new places, eating new foods, like experiencing, like living life, guess what she was not worried about? Her hair. Now, what happens is later in life, we get to the place to where we start to have hair insecurities. And we start to worry about our hair. Oh, it's going to get frizzy, or oh, it's going to do this, or oh, it's going to do that. And depending on that child's upbringing, she may or may not have felt that. This particular child has been free, is living hair freedom, and she didn't care about her hair. The most important part of the cycle is understanding what hair freedom means to you. The first part of the cycle is look. The second part of the cycle is love. The third part of the cycle is want. Fourth is invest. And fifth is feel happy. Those are the 5 components of the love part of the cycle. I will go into detail about each one of these in the next 5 parts of the series. Knowing what hair freedom means to you is going to help you to know whether you're in the love part of the cycle or out of it, and how to get back in when you're out, and to know what goals to set when you're out of the love part of the cycle. The very first experience that I had with just a taste of hair freedom, I call it the parking lot moment. I was sitting in the parking lot with my husband in the car outside the grocery store. A lot of times when we go to the grocery store at night after work, for him, I don't want to go in the store. Sometimes I just want to chill. But he asked me, as he often does, do you want to go in? I had just gotten my sister locks installed that week. Immediately, the first thing I thought in my head was, do I have a scarf in the car? We weren't even in my car. We were in my husband's car, but I was looking for a scarf, and I actually had one in my bag. And then I remembered, I thought, I decided that I was going to love my hair no matter what. I decided that I wanted hair freedom. And so I said, okay, I'm going in. I'm going in. I was actually wearing a jacket, a sweater jacket with a hood. And so I said, you know what? I may not be wearing a scarf, but I'm gonna have cover my head with this hood because that's about all I can give right now with this hair freedom thing. So I said, okay. So I put on the hood and I walked in the store, and I'm walking around just kind of waiting for somebody to ask me about my hair, because that was one of my triggers when people ask me about my hair. Specifically, my dreaded question, which was, is that your hair? And so I'm walking to the store and I'm, just kind of looking around. And after a while, I'm like, why? That's not freedom. Like, why am I doing that? And so I started, put my shoulders back and walk my head high. And I still left my hood on halfway, right? But I'm walking through the store and I'm like, okay, okay. And after a while, I'm like, well, where's somebody I know? How come nobody's asking me about my hair? I took a picture of that moment when I was like, I'm doing this thing. And the reason why that was so important to me was because when I got my big chop, what did I do? I threw on scarves every day. And that was me hiding because I felt insecure and I didn't want anybody to ask me about my teeny weeny afro. So when I was sitting there in that car after that shopping trip, I was so proud of myself. I was like, I just had a taste of hair freedom. Like it wasn't full blown hair freedom, but I was getting there. And it was a moment where I was so grateful that I had made the decision that I was going to come into this and that I wanted hair freedom for myself. That is how important it is to know what hair freedom means to you, because that way you will know if you're experiencing it, first of all. And it will let you know if you're not experiencing hair freedom. By the time I was in 3rd grade, I was experiencing the opposite of hair freedom, which I will call hair bondage, because I was bound by my insecurities from living life. So I was held back from living life because of all the things that I was feeling. So it was picture day, 3rd grade. And I walked to school. I walked to and from school. And my mama did my hair. She put my hair up. It was half up and half down. Now, my mama never let me wear my hair down. My hair was always in pigtails. This day, on picture day, she finally put my hair up. She slicked it up in one ponytail up here. And then she let it down in the back and put a little bump at the end. And I was cute. I was so cute. And then I went to school. And then I came home from school. And then the pictures came. But even while I was at school that day, I was so self-conscious because mama was like, don't touch your hair. Don't mess your hair up. Your hair better look good for them pictures. Do not mess up your hair. So guess what I did? I was so self-conscious about my hair that I kept like trying to smooth it up to make sure it wasn't falling, and making sure my that the flyaways was smooth and straight, and that my back was laying down. So I kept messing with my hair all day. So by the time the pictures came, My hair was looking not like it looked before I went to school, and I was embarrassed. I was thoroughly embarrassed about that picture of myself, my third grade picture. And that was me, hair bondage, not experiencing hair freedom anymore because I was beginning to be more concerned about what my hair was looking like than living life. So, staying in the love part of the cycle is that important because in the love cycle, the insecurities do not affect you. Maybe you get triggered, but here's the beautiful thing: you will know based on your definition of hair freedom, and if you even want to go further, knowing what hair bondage looks like, knowing what your hair triggers are, knowing what roles that you give your hair to play. And that's a whole nother conversation because I can talk about the 5 roles some other time. But knowing those things will be what you need to be able to go from out of love back in love with your hair, because hair bondage will take you out of the love cycle. And that is where we experience anxiety. That's where we experience insecurity. That's where we experience the hiding. That's where we experience the shrinking. That's where we experience the lack of living. And we don't want that. We do not want that. To help you remember this, the love part of the cycle is really about struggling well. And struggling well means keep moving yourself back into the love part of the cycle whenever you fall out. Struggle well to get back in. So let me tell you where the struggle well came from. I raised my 2 babies as a single mom for 9 years. And I was very conscientious and very intentional about raising them up and in a way that they could break generational curses, because there were so many curses in our family. And one of the things that I wanted the most for them was to be able to choose a good spouse. And so I had learned that lesson the hard way from generations before and my own personal decisions. And while I was single, I came across this advice to single women or to single people about finding a spouse. And in the dating process, what they suggested is that you find someone who struggles well. Now, struggling well didn't mean that they didn't struggle. The struggle is real, but the struggle is also necessary. It is a necessary part of life. That's how we get stronger, when we struggle and we make it through. So, struggle is needful. So, struggling well means that if you struggle well and you get back to the good, and I struggle well and I get back to the good, when we struggle well together, we can make it. We will be able to make it. And that stuck with me because that's what I want my kids to do. I want my kids to be able to make it. So I need to be able to choose someone who struggles well. So, and I need to work on myself struggling well. So together we can struggle well and keep love alive and live in freedom. Live, period. So that's the importance of struggling well and getting back into the love part of the cycle. As I mentioned before, hair freedom lives in the love part of the cycle, and hair freedom is where you want to be. I believe that hair freedom is not about hair. At the end of the day, it is not about hair. It is about struggling well. And that's why I keep saying struggle well, get back in love. But in order to get back in love, you need to know what you're getting back to. And in order to know what you're getting back to, you need to know what your definition of hair freedom is, so you have the motivation to get back to that. And then those 5 components of the cycle will help you to determine exactly what you're doing to stay in love. to stay in that lock love cycle. So again, the 5 parts of that cycle: look, love, want, invest, and feel happy. That's the end of part 1 for breaking down the cycle. Stay tuned for part 2 with me, Ra Freestone.